Every morning when you wake up, you are given a choice. Not a loud choice, not something outside you shouting for attention, but a quiet one, a still voice. A whisper inside your mind that asks, what kind of person will you be today? You see, growth is not something that happens by accident. It is not a result of chance. It is a decision, a commitment, a discipline. And that discipline begins not with action but with awareness. Every morning when you wake up, you're standing at a threshold. It's not a visible one, not marked by doors or walls, but it's there, subtle, internal, and deeply powerful. It's the moment before the world reaches in, before the noise begins, before your attention is pulled in 1,000 directions. That moment is sacred, and within it lies the first and most important choice of the day, the choice to grow. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't unfold randomly like leaves blown by the wind. It happens by decision. An intentional, deliberate, and quiet decision that begins before your feet even touch the ground. People often believe that growth is something that only happens through struggle or achievement. But real growth starts much earlier. It starts with self-awareness. It begins when you acknowledge that every single day you are being given a chance to shape your own story. That chance does not announce itself with fireworks or grand events. It comes silently, disguised as a simple moment of stillness. What you choose to think about, what you choose to focus on, what you say to yourself in those first moments. It all carries forward into the hours ahead. That's why the decision to grow must be made not during the chaos of the day, but in the quiet before it begins. When you consciously decide to grow, you are choosing to leave behind the automatic patterns that no longer serve you. You are choosing not to repeat the same reactions, the same thoughts, the same excuses. You are choosing to break the momentum of who you were yesterday and instead take a small but firm step in a new direction. That step may not be visible to the outside world, but within you, it's the spark of change. Even if your body hasn't moved, your mind has. Even if nothing around you looks different, something within you has already shifted. The power of this morning decision lies in its consistency. Growth is not a one-time event. It is not something you declare once and then forget. It is a rhythm, a practice, a commitment renewed daily. The same way the sun rises each morning without fail, you must rise with your own intention. You must remind yourself of who you want to become, not once in a while, but every day, and not in a loud or dramatic way, but through simple internal alignment, a quiet whisper to yourself that says, today I grow. Today, I choose to live with purpose. This kind of choice does not rely on motivation. It relies on clarity. When you know why you are walking your path, the distractions hold less power. The delays don't discourage you as easily. The failures don't break you as quickly. Because your direction is not dependent on outside approval or perfect conditions. It comes from within, anchored by the decision you made before the world even opened its eyes. That is the essence of real growth. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with more presence. And this presence can only come when you stop sleepwalking through your mornings. Too often, people wake up and immediately reach for distraction. They scroll through their phones, check messages, dive into tasks. But in doing so, they hand over their first thoughts to the world. They give away their direction before even claiming it for themselves. Growth cannot survive in that kind of environment. It needs space. It needs silence. It needs that moment when you turn inward and ask yourself, not what the world wants from you, but what you want from yourself. Growth is a decision, and that decision is always waiting at the start of each day, whether you see it or not. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it begins with strict routines, rigid rules, or external controls. But true discipline doesn't start with what you do. It starts with how you see. It begins with awareness, with the quiet recognition of what is happening inside you before anything is acted out. Discipline is not a punishment. It is not a heavy chain you place upon your shoulders. It is a form of inner order, a way of bringing alignment between your values and your behavior. And that alignment is only possible when you are truly aware of yourself. When you wake up in the morning, your first thoughts shape your direction. If those thoughts are scattered, distracted, or full of self-doubt, they will create a day that reflects that same chaos. But if you are aware of them, if you simply observe them without judgment, you create a space to respond, rather than react. That space is where discipline is born. Because once you can see clearly, you can choose consciously. And the ability to choose consciously, again and again, is the essence of discipline. We live in a world that praises results. But real strength lies in what happens before the results are visible. The quiet decision not to be ruled by emotion. The silent practice of choosing presence over distraction. The simple act of returning to your breath when your mind begins to wander. These are not dramatic acts. They will not be seen by others. But they are the foundation of every disciplined life. And they cannot be faked. You cannot pretend to be disciplined if you are not deeply aware of your own patterns. You must know yourself, your triggers, your temptations, your tendencies, and from that knowing, build your path forward. Many people try to build discipline from the outside in. They set rules, force habits, create schedules. But if there is no awareness behind those structures, they collapse. You can force yourself to wake up early, but if you don't know why you're doing it, you'll eventually stop. You can make a list of tasks, but if you are unaware of the deeper purpose behind them, you'll abandon them the moment discomfort arises. Discipline that is not rooted in awareness is fragile. It cracks under pressure. But when discipline grows from self-understanding, it becomes unshakable. This is why the inner work must come first. Before you move, pause. Before you speak, observe. Before you react, reflect. These are small actions, but they are powerful. They build the mental muscles that allow you to hold your ground when life gets loud. They train your mind to stay centered in a world that constantly pulls you in different directions. And they remind you that discipline is not about control. It's about choice. Not the big dramatic choices, but the small consistent ones. The ones no one sees, but that shape everything you do. When you carry awareness into your actions, you begin to live with intention. Your habits become tools, not burdens. Your routines become reflections of your values, not cages. And your discipline becomes something that frees you, not something that limits you. It allows you to say yes to what matters and no to what doesn't. It gives you the strength to walk your path even when it's not easy. And it reminds you, day by day, that every action has meaning when it comes from a place of clarity. The most powerful form of discipline is the kind that grows quietly inside of you. It does not need to be announced. It does not seek attention. It simply becomes part of who you are. And every time you return to awareness, every time you notice before you act, you are deepening that discipline, anchoring it, making it real. Every action we take is a form of training. Whether we are aware of it or not, we are always practicing something. When you choose to speak with kindness, you are training patience. When you choose to face discomfort instead of avoiding it, you are training courage. When you allow distractions to guide your focus, you are training weakness. Nothing is neutral. Every small decision, every repeated habit, is building a part of your character. This is why awareness is essential. Because without it, you may be training a version of yourself that you do not want to become. People often wait for the big moments to show who they are. They believe they'll rise when the pressure comes. But who you are under pressure is simply the result of what you've trained when no one was watching. The small choices you make each day, how you respond to difficulty, how you treat others, how you manage your time, these shape your future more than any single event. They are the silent architects of your mind. They build your reactions, your reflexes, your ability to stay grounded. You are either training focus or training distraction. You are either training resilience or training avoidance. This understanding shifts the way you look at your life. Suddenly, the ordinary moments are no longer meaningless. They become opportunities. That moment you are tempted to complain, but choose silence, that is training. That moment when you're tired but still keep your promise, that is training. That moment when you could act in anger but choose calm, that is training. In these moments, you are not just passing time. You are shaping the very core of who you are becoming. You do not need a special environment, a perfect routine, or external motivation to train yourself. Every environment is a training ground when you have awareness. A noisy room teaches you how to find inner silence. A slow process teaches you how to be patient. A difficult conversation teaches you how to listen. Life is constantly giving you the tools to grow, but only if you see them that way. Without awareness, you will miss the lesson. You will see only problems instead of practice, and your reactions will become habits you did not choose, but simply repeated until they became part of you. Training is not about perfection, it is about repetition. You may fall, you may forget, but each time you return, each time you choose presence over impulse, you are deepening the pattern. You are rewiring the mind. And over time, those small, invisible moments become your greatest strength. Because when life tests you, it does not ask what you know. It asks what you have trained. It asks what you return to under stress. It asks what habits live inside your nervous system. The disciplined mind is not built during comfort. It is built in the quiet, daily choices that often go unnoticed. This is why you must treat every moment with care. Not with fear or pressure, but with respect. If you want to be strong in the future, train strength now. If you want to be calm in the storm, train stillness now. If you want to lead with purpose, train awareness now. The future version of you is not built in the future. It is built in the present, through repetition, through attention, through the willingness to grow even when it is uncomfortable. Your habits are not small. They are the foundation. They are the reflection of what you value, of what you practice, and of what you will become. Stillness is not the absence of movement, and reflection is not a luxury for when life slows down. Both are necessities. In the noise of the modern world, with constant distractions pulling at your attention, the ability to sit quietly with yourself is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Without stillness, you are reactive. You are pulled by emotions, pushed by opinions, and tossed by the momentum of habit. But when you create space within, even for a few moments each day, you allow something deeper to emerge. Clarity. Stillness allows you to see what is actually happening within you. Not what you wish to feel, not what you pretend to feel, but the truth of your inner state. It reveals the tension you've been carrying, the thoughts you've been avoiding, the beliefs you've accepted without question. And in that seeing, there is an opportunity for transformation. Because you cannot change what you do not first acknowledge. You cannot grow beyond what you refuse to face. Stillness does not create the change, but it makes change possible. It lays the foundation for conscious movement, not blind repetition. Reflection adds another layer to this practice. It takes what stillness uncovers and begins to examine it with honesty and care. It's the moment when you ask yourself questions that are not easy to answer. Why did I react that way? What am I really chasing? What pain am I hiding behind my distractions? These are not questions for the mind to solve like a puzzle. They are questions for the heart to hold with patience. The answers may not come immediately, and that is not the point. The act of asking itself is powerful. It shifts your attention from the external to the internal, from control to awareness. Without stillness and reflection, you are likely to repeat your past. Not because you want to, but because you are unaware of the patterns driving your behavior. You will live out old fears, old wounds, old narratives, and believe they are your truth. But when you make space to observe your thoughts, to reflect on your choices, you create a gap between stimulus and response, and in that gap lies your freedom. You no longer have to be ruled by the first reaction. You begin to respond with intention, with clarity, and with alignment to who you want to become. This is not something that happens all at once. It is a slow unfolding, a daily return to silence, a regular check-in with your inner compass. And the more often you return, the more familiar that space becomes. What was once uncomfortable becomes grounding. What was once unclear begins to reveal itself. This practice strengthens your ability to sit with discomfort, to remain steady when emotions rise, to be fully present in a world that constantly pulls you away from yourself. It is through stillness and reflection that you begin to see the gaps between your actions and your values. You start to notice when you're acting from fear instead of purpose, from habit instead of wisdom. And that noticing is not a failure. It is the beginning of growth. Because now you can choose differently. Now you can step out of the automatic and into the intentional. You can align your daily life with the deeper vision you carry within. This alignment does not mean life becomes easy or perfect. It means you are no longer a stranger to yourself. It means you carry a sense of inner steadiness that is not shaken by every change in the external world. And that steadiness, born from stillness and sharpened through reflection, becomes the core from which you live. It becomes the anchor that keeps you grounded, the light that guides your decisions, and the strength that carries you forward even when the path is uncertain. Your energy is your responsibility. The way you wake up, the thoughts you choose to engage with, the emotional state you nurture in those early hours, all of it sets a tone that echoes throughout the day. People often look outside for reasons why their day feels heavy or chaotic, but the truth is, the quality of the day is shaped internally long before the world has a chance to interfere. You carry your energy into every conversation, every task, every challenge. And that energy either becomes your strength or your weakness. There is power in beginning the day with awareness. Before the noise of the world reaches you, there is a moment, a small, quiet window, where you get to choose your state. In that moment, you can choose presence over distraction, calm over chaos, intention over habit. And that choice, though small, carries a ripple effect. It influences the way you speak, the way you listen, the way you move through space. It changes your reactions, your focus, your ability to remain steady. But it requires you to take ownership. No one can give you calm. No one can hand you clarity. These must be cultivated from within. The mind is like a lens, and your energy is the light that passes through it. If your energy is agitated, unfocused, or negative, everything you see will be distorted. Small problems will seem larger. Opportunities will be missed. Conflicts will feel personal. But when your energy is grounded and clear, the same challenges appear different. You respond instead of react. You see beyond the surface. You maintain perspective. This is not magic. It is the natural outcome of choosing your energy with intention. Taking responsibility for your energy also means recognizing when it's off. There will be days when you wake up feeling heavy, tired, or disconnected. This is not failure. This is part of being human. What matters is not whether those moments arise, but how you respond to them. Do you let them control your day, or do you meet them with awareness? Can you shift your focus, adjust your breath, re-center your attention? Even a small reset, a deep breath, a quiet moment of stillness, a return to gratitude, can redirect your energy and restore your clarity. The world responds to how you carry yourself. If you bring chaos, you invite resistance. If you bring presence, you invite connection. This does not mean suppressing how you feel or pretending everything is fine. It means learning to work with your energy skillfully, rather than being ruled by it. It means knowing how to ground yourself when things get unstable. It means understanding that you are not just a receiver of energy, but a generator of it. What you bring into a room affects the entire room. That is why rituals matter. The way you begin your day is not just a routine. It's a declaration. It tells your mind and body what kind of energy to carry. Whether it's through silence, movement, breathwork, or reflection. These practices are not about doing something impressive. They are about anchoring your energy so that you move with stability rather than uncertainty. They create a container of clarity that holds you steady when life becomes unpredictable. No one else is responsible for how you feel, how you think, or how you carry yourself through the world. The moment you take full ownership of your inner state is the moment you step into true power. That power is not loud or aggressive. It is quiet, rooted, and steady. It gives you the ability to walk into any situation without losing yourself. It allows you to lead your life from within, instead of being dragged by what's outside. This inner authority, this clarity of energy, is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself and those around you. Growth and comfort cannot live in the same space. One demands expansion, effort, and uncertainty. The other offers familiarity, ease, and predictability. When you choose to grow, you are choosing to step into the unknown. You are choosing challenge over routine, discipline over indulgence, and purpose over pleasure. This choice is not always dramatic. Often, it is quiet. It happens in small moments, when you say yes to discomfort, when you stay present in difficulty, when you resist the urge to retreat into old habits. These small acts are where real growth takes root. The mind naturally resists discomfort. It wants to avoid pain, tension, effort. This is not weakness. It is survival. But the same instincts that once protected you can now limit you. When discomfort is always avoided, growth is always delayed. The muscle never strengthens. The fear never softens. The truth never reveals itself. Growth requires facing what you would rather ignore. It demands presence when your mind wants escape. It calls you to stay grounded when your emotions want to react. It asks you to move forward, not because it's easy, but because it's aligned with who you are becoming. Each time you step outside your comfort zone, even slightly, you are breaking an invisible wall. These walls are not made of stone or steel. They are made of stories. Stories you've told yourself about who you are, what you can handle, what you deserve. To grow, you must challenge those stories. You must test the limits you have accepted. And the only way to do that is through action. Not grand gestures, but consistent steps into the unknown. Not perfection, but persistence. Growth is not measured by how much you know, but by how willing you are to unlearn. There is a quiet power in choosing discomfort on purpose. When you wake up early even when you're tired, when you speak honestly even when your voice shakes, when you keep your word even when it costs you, these are not just good habits. They are evidence that you are willing to stretch. And the more you stretch, the more space you create within yourself. Space for courage, for clarity, for a deeper understanding of your own capacity. This space is not given. It is earned. And it is only revealed through the willingness to endure what is unfamiliar. The discomfort you face is not an obstacle. It is a mirror. It shows you where you are holding back, where you are afraid, where you have more strength than you thought. Every difficult conversation, every failed attempt, every moment of doubt, they are not signs that you are doing something wrong. They are signs that you are growing. They are the resistance that sharpens your awareness. They are the pressure that reveals what has been hidden. The path of growth is not clean or linear. It is messy, uncertain, and full of tension. But it is also rich with insight, transformation, and inner strength. There is no growth without friction. The butterfly must struggle to leave the cocoon. The seed must break through the soil. The human being must leave behind old versions of self to evolve into something more. This process cannot be rushed, but it also cannot be avoided. The discomfort is not punishment. It is a signal that something new is being formed. Something deeper, more resilient, more aligned with who you are becoming. And every time you face that discomfort with presence, you are choosing to grow rather than shrink. You are choosing the path of transformation rather than the illusion of safety. You are choosing to become instead of to remain. Growth is not something you stumble into. It is something you choose again and again with quiet consistency and deep inner commitment. It begins with a decision each morning to rise with awareness, to shape your thoughts before the world shapes them for you. It is rooted in self-discipline born not from force, but from clarity. Every action you take trains something in you, and that training shapes your future. Without stillness and reflection, you drift. With them, you direct. Your energy is your responsibility. How you carry it defines how you live. And real growth only unfolds when you are willing to face discomfort with presence, to step beyond the limits of habit and into the space where transformation happens. Growth is not loud. It is quiet, steady, and intentional. It begins within, and it begins now.